Good morning, Central Baptist Church family. We are in Proverbs chapter 3 today, which, let me tell you, is probably one of my favorite chapters. And I had the hardest time trying to figure out what verses I was going to focus on today. Honestly, like Proverbs chapter 3, you know what Proverbs chapter 3 is? Proverbs chapter 3 is the double stuffed Oreo of Proverbs. But not only is it a double stuffed, it's like a quadruple stuffed Oreo. Because today I'm gonna give you like a full sermon in one, because I literally all morning I was struggling, not even just all morning, the last couple days, as I was focusing on Proverbs 3 for today, looking ahead to it. I was trying to decide, what in the world am I going to focus on? What one verse, what two verses am I going to focus on and give you a truth from? And I couldn't narrow it down. So here's four truths from Proverbs chapter 3. Again, probably one of my favorite chapters in all of Proverbs. I love this chapter. So much good content. So, first truth, very familiar verses, probably the most familiar verses in this chapter, is in verse 5. Trust in the Lord with all thine heart, and lean not into thine own understanding. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths. Be not wise in thine own eyes, fear the Lord, and depart from evil. So basically what he's saying there is trust God, not yourself. So let's apply this to the pandemic. All four of these truths are going to apply to the pandemic. Ready? First thing, trust God, not yourself during this pandemic. God's got it under control, not you. We can hoard all the toilet paper, all the face masks, all the hand sanitizer, but that doesn't mean anything if God is not in control of our life. So trust God, not yourself. The second one is in verse 11. My son, despise not the chastening of the Lord, neither be weary of his correction. For whom the Lord loveth, he correcteth, even as a father the son in whom he delighteth. Do you ever feel like when it rains, it pours? Like when one bad thing happens, like a million other bad things follow? I don't know if you've experienced that. I know that several people have experienced that during this last 2-3 weeks. Not only do we have to worry about the coronavirus, not only do we have to worry about everything shutting down and our lives being put on pause, but maybe for you, more bad things have been happening on top of it. Listen, God chastens or disciplines his children that he loves. Maybe God, through this, what I think the truth we need to apply and learn from this is, maybe God's trying to teach you something through chastening during this trial of life. Maybe bad things are happening to you for a reason. Why don't you just take a step back and say, okay, God, what are you trying to teach me? What are you trying to change in me? What are you trying to discipline out of my life during this trial? So good. Next one, verse number 25. And again, I'm skipping over a lot of really good stuff because this is a quadruple stuffed Oreo. Okay, here we go. Verse 25. Be not afraid of sudden fear, neither of the desolation of the wicked when it cometh. For the Lord shall be thy confidence and shall keep thy foot from being taken. This pandemic is sudden fear. Maybe if you're worried that you might have the virus, that's sudden fear. You're worried you might get laid off, that's sudden fear. You're probably facing a lot of sudden fear right now. You don't know. The future is very uncertain. Let the Lord be your confidence. Trust in him, okay? And this kind of reflects, again, verse 5, but it's a great reminder. Hey, why do we need to trust God? Because of sudden fear. The last thing, verse 27, withhold not good from them to whom it is due, when it is in thine power of thine hand to do it. Some of us, are, for now, like for me, my life is relatively unchanged. My kids weren't in school anyways. The biggest change in my life is that we're just not going to the church as often. We're still working from home and still going to church a lot. We're just trying to reduce exposure to each other. I mean, because can you imagine if the entire staff got sick? That would be a real bummer, so we're just trying to reduce some of those things. So that's changed, but I'm still working, just in different locations, okay? But I know for many of you, your lives have changed. Your worlds have been turned upside down. Your lives have changed dramatically. For those whose lives have remained unchanged, or maybe God's given you extra blessings at this time, if it's in your power to bless those in need, do it. If it's in your power to help somebody who's struggling at this time, maybe there's people we know. I mean, I know there's people in our church, they were struggling before this pandemic even started. And now their lives have only gotten more difficult. So if it's in your power, I love the wording, withhold not good from them to whom it is due when it is in the power of thine hand to do it. If you have the ability to be a blessing to somebody else and to help somebody in need, do it. Be a help to somebody. I know that was overwhelming. I know it was a lot of information. You might have to rewind it and listen to it again. But that's why it took me so long to get this video up this morning. I was struggling, just looking through all these things, praying about it. And I was like, let's just talk about the whole thing. It's fantastic. So keep reading the book of Proverbs. Keep rereading the chapters. Let the word of God speak to you. We need it right now. We need it always. And these wisdom truths are so powerful. So keep reading the word. Stay in the word.